I'm going to put my pajamas on because I have had a day from hell, and it better not get any hotter.
This morning, hard reality is setting in for Todd and Julie Chrisley.
Julie, I got 5. Where's the other one?
I don't know where the other one is.
Find the other one and lock it up.
Lock it up.
The stars of the reality series Chrisley Knows Best found guilty of bank fraud and tax evasion.
Todd and Julie Chrisley of Chrisley Knows Best have been convicted by the federal government for bank fraud and tax evasion. So as you know, we've been following this Todd Chrisley tax evasion story for the last couple of weeks. A lot of different things came out in this case, including Todd Chrisley's former business partner alleging that they had an intimate relationship, and that's the reason why he falsified documents for Todd Chrisley. We even had Nanny Faye testify saying that she never read any of the financial documents that she signed off on. Well, now TMZ is reporting that the verdict is in. They said Todd and Julie were found guilty on a laundry list of charges, according to our court clerk for the Northern District of Georgia. We're told their accountant, Peter Tarantino, was also found guilty on related charges. Chrisley's attorney, Bruce Morris, tells TMZ we are disappointed in the verdict. We plan on an appeal. Is it good for Todd, or is it? Todd and Julie
Went out to LA all them times on the TV show to get your little nappy haircut. There's a fine barber in the federal penitentiary that'll do you just right, Mr. Todd. Do you just right. And Miss Julie, all that fancy makeup, fancy hair, all that you got going on, well, them 30 years that you're facing is going to do a number on that. You can't act like you better than everybody riding around in Bentleys and Land Rovers and this, that, and the other and doing it fraudulently. That's what's wrong. That's what was wrong with the picture. So now you got time in between now and sentencing to think about all the repercussions that you've done. But just know that your day of justice is going to come when that jail cell door slams shut. Think about that, high rollers.
Ready for some breaking news? The jury just convicted them. They were found guilty of conspiracy to commit bank fraud, conspiracy to defraud the United States, wire fraud, bank fraud, and tax fraud. So it is not looking good for them. They could face up to like 30 years in prison. Sentencing will be at a later date, so obviously I'm going to do another video about that.
Found guilty of bank fraud and tax evasion, they will be sentenced at a later date. Their attorney says they plan to appeal. Todd and Julie Chrisley have been found guilty of federal prosecutors saying the couple swindled at least $30 million from community banks between 2007 and 2012. A jury finding them guilty on all charges.
Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of Virals. We talk about Todd and Julie Chrisley has been charged with tax evasion and bank fraud. Yes, the popular television show Chrisley Knows Best. The two stars, Todd Chrisley and Julie Chrisley, husband and wife, have been convicted by a Georgia federal grand jury in Georgia that they have been lied, they cheated, and they stole from community banks up to $20 million and tried to pay that as a debt, but then they got turned around and saying it was that. We'll get to that coming up. First things first, join in the conversation. Use the hashtag Viral here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here as we talk about Todd and Julie Chrisley from the television show Chrisley Knows Best. Everyone knows Todd Chrisley and his wife Julie have a extravagant lifestyle. They was living in Georgia and then they relocated to Nashville, Tennessee. Well, things have come up with them as both Todd and Julie Chrisley have been charged with tax evasion and bank fraud. Yes, this has been heading up for years as we dig down. Remember our first viral story of We Did to Them. We discussed them being charged with tax evasion. Now federal grand jury has indicted them both with bank fraud and tax evasion, saying that they was lying to the banks, the community banks as well, trying to steal and take money as they go, and they end up They thought they was in debt, and then they tried to write that debt off, but it didn't work. Well, let's get to the latest on what's going on with Todd and Julie Chrisley. What transpired right now.
I'm going to put my pajamas on because I have had a day from hell, and it better not get any hotter.
This morning, hard reality is setting in for Todd and Julie Chrisley.
Julie, I got 5. Where's the other one?
I don't know where the other one
Find
is.
the other one and lock it up.
Lock it up.
The stars of the reality series Chrisley Knows Best found guilty of bank fraud and tax evasion. Federal prosecutors saying the couple swindled at least $30 million from community banks between 2007 and 2012. A jury finding them guilty on all charges.
They used that money to have luxury cars, homes, real estate, and it was all based upon a house of cards that weren't true. And now the house of cards have fallen and the Chrisleys are convicted.
Their hit reality show, Chrisley Knows Best, premiered in 2014 and follows the life and times of real estate tycoon Todd Chrisley and his family.
Don't tell me what to do. It's my damn cake.
The show was just renewed for a 10th season and has spin-off series in the works. But prosecutors say the couple hid millions of dollars made from the reality show, submitted fake loans and bank statements, and evaded hundreds of thousands in taxes dating all the way back to 2009.
I've made 95% of all the money that we've ever made in real estate.
The trial began 3 weeks ago with the jury beginning deliberations Friday afternoon. During deliberations, the judge allowing the Chrisleys to remain free on bond, but with restrictions, placing the couple on location monitoring and home detention.
I don't need professional help.
The Chrisleys could face up to 30 years in prison.
They have to wait for sentencing. Usually that's within 3 to 4 months. More likely somewhere around 5 to 7 years of prison they'll receive. And the lawyers will then seek to appeal.
Nothing about life is fair.
You saw right there, that's what has transpired. Todd and Julie Chrisley, both charged with tax evasion and bank fraud. This is getting more crazier and crazier as it seems. It even got more crazier that Todd Chrisley had a somewhat supposed alleged affair with another man trying to cover it up. This.
Recently alleged having an affair with the TV star? So, curious to know who this person is? And what does Chrisley have to say about the allegation? Keep watching to find out. Todd Chrisley and his wife Julie Chrisley were slammed with a slew of serious charges back in August 2019. And now they have some explaining to do. The Chrisleys were indicted on several counts of tax evasion and conspiracy, as well as bank and wire fraud. Although they claimed they were innocent, the two are now battling it out in a federal trial in Atlanta. In September 2021, Todd revealed he was unfairly targeted after Atlanta's Office of the Inspector General released a report that uncovered the Georgia Department of Revenue misused funds seized in asset forfeiture. Todd said in a statement, "We are grateful that the truth is finally coming out, and this is just the beginning. We stand in our faith and have always believed that the truth would prevail. God is the greatest healer and revealer. While the findings did appear to be a small break in the case, that didn't mean Todd and Julie were off the hook just yet. The couple is currently on trial, and shocking new allegations against Todd revealed some intimate details about his personal life in court. In addition to evading millions of dollars in Georgia state taxes, it has now come out that Todd Chrisley allegedly had an affair with a man in the early 2000s, despite being married to his wife Julie Chrisley since 1996. Mark Braddock, Todd's former business partner, testified in court that he and the reality star had a romantic relationship for a year. After they called it off, Braddock said he and Chrisley decided to remain friends and formed what he described as a brotherhood.
But, when you get married, marriage is supposed to be forever. And anytime a third party gets involved, it's not a good thing.
Braddock used to work for Todd's company, Chrisley Asset Management, and during that time, the two started to receive anonymous text messages from someone asking for money, or else they would out the men for having an affair. It's unclear who was behind the texts, but Todd and Braddock's secret romance ultimately cost them $38,000 in cash. This came after the former employee admitted in court that they paid the blackmailer off just so they wouldn't risk exposure. During a 2017 radio interview on the Dominic Natty Show, Todd addressed the rumors about his sexuality, saying,
I'm flattered that people think I can get laid on both ends. So that doesn't bother me.
Mark Braddock testified in court that he played a vital role in helping Todd and Julie Chrisley in committing fraud by falsifying documents, and even went as far as impersonating the reality star. Braddock also revealed that when his affair with the Chrisley Knows Best star ended, things went sour.
In 12 states, there are more than 2 million people who should be able to see a doctor but can't.
2 million who might not even know they have cancer because they can't afford to get screened.
60% of these.
The disgruntled employee became angry that his alleged former lover fired him, and as a result, he decided to seek revenge. Braddock admitted in court that he was the one who gave information to the FBI about the Chrisleys' illegal activities. According to WSB-TV, the Chrisleys were also accused of stashing away millions of dollars so they could avoid a hefty tax bill. In September 2021, Todd shared on social media that he remains innocent and claimed other people were responsible for the situation. Writing on Instagram, "So much more is still to come about how this entire tax situation came about. We stand steadfast in our faith and look forward to every dirty deed being exposed with more truth than anyone could ever imagine." Todd Chrisley and his wife Julie Chrisley have been together for more than 2 decades and have dealt with a lot in their marriage. Julie was diagnosed with breast cancer, which absolutely devastated her husband and their 3 children. While Julie's experience was horrifying, she did, however, praise her husband for helping her every step of the way while she was battling the disease. During an interview with the Tennessean, Julie had this to say, "I truly believe that moment took our relationship to a whole new level." Julie also credits Todd for encouraging her to get a mammogram, adding, "I did it to appease him so he would shut up and leave me alone." Thankfully, together they were able to weather the storm, and with the Chrisleys' latest legal issues, Julie has kept her feet on the ground, proving that no matter what life throws at them, they have each other.
Yeah, like I said, it's even getting more crazier and crazier and crazier as we continue to process this and see how this all turned out. But now we're seeing things a little bit clearer now with Todd and Julie Christian. All right, let's see what you people had to say about Todd and Julie Christian committing bank fraud and tax evasion, and how far that's going to go for them, and what holds the fate for their popular television show right now.
Todd and Julie Chrisley of Chrisley Knows Best have been convicted by the federal government for bank fraud and tax evasion. So as you know, we've been following this Todd Chrisley tax evasion story for the last couple of weeks. A lot of different things came out in this case, including Todd Chrisley's former business partner alleging that they had an intimate relationship, and that's the reason why he falsified documents for Todd Chrisley. We even had Nanny Faith testify saying that she never read any of the financial documents that she signed off on. Well, now TMZ is reporting that the verdict is in. They said Todd and Julie were found guilty on a laundry list of charges. According to our court clerk for the Northern District of Georgia, we're told their accountant, Peter Tarantino, was also found guilty on related charges. Chrisley's attorney, Bruce Morris, tells TMZ, "We are disappointed in the verdict. We plan on an appeal." This ain't good for Todd. Or is it? Todd and Julie.
What up, TikTok? Coming to you this fine Tuesday afternoon. If you ain't heard the news yet, the federal jury has convicted Todd and Julie Chrisley of bank fraud, tax evasion, wire fraud, all kinds of stuff. The pair is facing up to 30 years in prison. You can't get on TV and run around and act like your shit don't stink. Like you're better than that and better than Hussein. All I can say is, flying out to L.A. all them times on a TV show to get your little nappy haircut, there's a fine barber in the federal penitentiary that'll do you just right, Mr. Todd. Do you just right. And Miss Julie, all that fancy makeup, fancy hair, all that you got going on, well, them 30 years that you're facing is going to do a number on that. You can't act like you better than everybody riding around in Bentleys and Land Rovers and this, that, and the other and doing it fraudulently. That's what's wrong. That's what was wrong with the picture. So now you got time in between now and sentencing to think about all the repercussions that you've done. But just know that your day of justice is going to come when that jail cell door slams shut. Think about that, high rollers.
Big fat guilty. The Chrisley Knows Best stars were convicted by a federal jury on all of the counts they were facing. So that's a slew of conspiracy and fraud charges as well as tax evasion. Todd and Julie were accused of borrowing $30 million, all while not paying off a $20 million debt. At this point, you're probably thinking, they're celebrities. Don't they have people handle their money? They do. And in this case, their accountant went down with the ship. He was also convicted of fraud charges and for knowingly faking their tax returns. This trial was messy with a capital M. We learned that the authorities got tipped off about the Chrisleys' illegal activities by one of Todd's scorned lovers. A man named Mark Braddock, who used to work for Todd here, testified under oath that he sang like a canary about their activities because he wanted revenge on Todd after their affair went south. To be clear, Todd has long denied that he ever had any same-sex relationships. At any rate, the couple here is facing 30 years behind bars. A sentencing date has not yet been set, and they're going to appeal.
Ready for some breaking news? The jury just convicted them. They were found guilty of conspiracy to commit bank fraud, conspiracy to defraud the United States, wire fraud, bank fraud, and tax fraud. So it is not looking good for them. They could face up to like 30 years in prison. Sentencing will be at a later date, so obviously I'm going to do another video about that. And I'll also do another video about their allegations in the indictment. But the basic gist was that they were faking financial documents to obtain loans from banks. So they, for example, gave the bank a document that purported to show they had like $4 million in a Merrill Lynch bank account. Well, they actually never even had a Merrill Lynch bank account at that time. They get the loans from the bank. They shouldn't have got them. And they weren't paying their taxes. So, eek. Are you ready?
Found guilty of bank fraud and tax evasion, they will be sentenced at a later date. Their attorney says they plan to appeal. Todd and Julie Chrisley have been found guilty of...
A lot of you have mixed emotions, and some of you feel sad for them. Even some of you had voiced your opinion on our Instagram channel page that what you thought, what you didn't like about this, and it was real vocal, and we really appreciate that here on Connect TV, that you was vocal. You showed what your stance was between Todd and Julie. Some of you were kind of on the feel sorry, guilt trip for him. Others was just like, he deserved what he deserved. So we thank you for your opinion, and your voice does matter, and we thank you all for that. All right, all we have to say is, what's next with Todd and Julie Chrisley? Well, we know that they could be sentenced, go to prison up to 30 years. That's just for right now. That's the timetable. And they could be charged sometime later this fall. And we could see the demise of Todd and Julie Chrisley on what happened. It's like Harry and Leona Helmsley. You kind of remember that group, that husband and wife duo from New York, when they was committing a lot of stuff. And Todd and Julie Chrisley is just like that. But only time will tell. We just have to wait and see on that one. Thank you all for watching this edition of Vows. We talked about Todd and Julie Chrisley from Chrisley Knows Best being indicted for bank fraud and tax evasion. I've been your host, Kendra Dick, saying so long. Thank you for watching.